Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My voice is gone, but we continue with the Christmas spirit. Today, it's gonna be a really fun day. My family and I, we're gonna go to Christmas tree farm and pick out a Christmas tree. And then every year we spray the Christmas tree with like canned snow to give it a like holiday snowed in effect. Even though we live in like the Bay Area and it doesn't really snow here, we make it snow here. So we're gonna go and check it out. Hopefully there's a good tree. Every year I make it a competition with my brother to see if I can pick out a better tree than him. I'm pretty sure it's a one-sided competition. He's never voiced that he makes it a competition, but the past 2 years I've picked out like a good Christmas tree, and so we're gonna try and keep it rolling and we'll see how this goes. But I'm so excited, and I love going to the Christmas tree farm. I love the smell of pine. And then later I want to talk about my 5-star reads that I have read so far this year. Yeah.
She was just visiting the family.
Yeah. Are we gonna see Betsy? I think the donkey's in the barn. Is that Betsy? Hello. Oh, I smell fire. Yeah. Fire open on a fire, smoking on an open fire. Wait, what is it? Chestnuts roasting on an open fire. There we go. Are we in Scotland?
Oh, wow. So busy.
Where are the measuring sticks? Oh my god, I always hit these lights.
From here?
No.
This one's leaning. I was gonna go to this one. What is that, 8?
Yeah, that's 7. So technically it could be 7 if you... You seem very tall.
What did they give the trees this year? Well, I've been left alone. I have my measuring stick. I'm thinking this one. Well, I don't know actually, because this could be the back of it.
Yeah.
I just went 3 for 3 in picking Christmas trees. 3 years in a row, baby. Winner of Christmas trees. Aren't we so cute? We're like twins.
Oh, so Santa's only here on the weekend.
Why?
Stand right here.
I like the strong branches.
Yeah.
And it looks kind of cool because it looks like it's already frosted. 3 years in a
Maybe
row.
we can swap or something.
Yeah.
I would say we used to get these all the time, and
Yeah.
then we got the Douglas ferns. I'm like, these are way better. But we
I
can
just
go
like,
back.
I miss the strong branches every now and
That
then.
ornament. All right, we're going over to the barn.
Baby bunnies. Stop. Those are so cute.
I want one.
Should I just like,
Oh, look at that black and
take
white
them?
one that's
How's it going, sister?
standing right there.
She's right there, like,
She's not in a little stable?
They're literally like right there.
Goat on the loose.
That was kind of funny. Right when I opened it too.
Uh-oh. Oh. Hi. Aw. That's a baby one. I found the donkey. Oh, you are cute.
Hi. Hi.
Tootsie be cool.
Hi, guys. For lunch.
Alright, we're back in my house, and I just realized before I start my book wrap-up of like the 5-star books that I've read so far this year, I realized that the Spotify wrap came out finally today, and a lot of people I've seen on TikTok are hating it, and I haven't seen what mine is. I'm very curious. I know for a fact Taylor Swift is going to be #1 for me. She's been #1 for me since I got Spotify when I was in high school in like 2013. I have a feeling Zach Bryan could be #2. Honestly, I was kind of going through it a few months ago, so maybe Chase Atlantic. I don't really know who else, or I don't even know what my top song is. Let's see what my Spotify rap is. Okay, so I've listened to 84,752 minutes of music this year. I'm in the top 2% of listeners worldwide. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. My top song was I Remember Everything by Zach Bryan and Casey Musgraves. That is one of my favorite songs by him, and I love Casey Musgraves. I was in the top 0.01 of listeners globally. My top songs was I Remember Everything by Zach Bryan and Casey Musgraves, Fade Into You by Mazzy Star, Home by Good Neighbors, Everywhere Everything by Noah Kahan and Gracie Abrams, and then #5 was Daylight by Watch House. Those are good songs. Those are really good songs. A lot of people don't agree with them. I listen to these very often. So I have no problem with that. I've changed, okay? April was your light academia, soft piano, neoclassical phase. True, I listened to a lot more classical music than normal. April, spring, I guess. June was Pink, Pilates, Princess, Catwalk, Pop Session. Summer, Taylor Swift, Sabrina Carpenter, and Olivia Rodrigo. August was Wild West, Slow Dance, Country. Zach Bryan, Kelsey Ballerini, and Chris Stapleton. Yup. My top artist was Taylor Swift. Yeah, I love that woman. I love her with all my heart. I was in the top 0.5% of fans, and I spent 9,741 minutes listening to her music. Interesting. Okay, so my top artists are Taylor Swift, Zach Bryan. I knew he was gonna be my number 2. Number 3 is Lana Del Rey, which is very surprising because I thought it would be Noah Kahan and then honestly, I didn't even know Lana Del Rey was gonna be on there. I didn't think I listened to her that much. But number 3, Lana Del Rey. Number 4, Noah Kahan. And number 5, Hozier. I'm good with that. She's gonna speak to me.
Well, hi. I just wanted to say thank you so much for being one of my top listeners on Spotify. That's so nice of you. I look back on this year and I think about how special you guys made it for us being on the Eras Tour. Went all over the world. We went to Europe, Australia, Asia, back through America, then to Canada. And so thank you if you came to see the show. Thank you for streaming the music. It's just been such a wild ride, and I really appreciate everything you guys have done, including listening to my music so much. So cool.
I know other people got that, but I'm just gonna say it was personally for me. Oh my god, I love her. I mean, it was basic. A lot of people are wishing like genres that they listen to. I think that's the only thing that they were lacking. The genres where it's like pop or country or EDM or folk, indie, alternative. Like, I want to know what kind of music I listen to. Interesting. Oh, I love Taylor Swift. I love her so much. Oh my god, I listen to a lot of music. Everyone else's like minutes listened is like 5,000, 6,000, 38,000. Mine is literally 84,000. I think that's the most that mine has ever been. Okay, so last year my favorite artist was Taylor Swift. Number 2 was Harry Styles. Number 3 was Frank Ocean. Number 4 was Kanye. That surprised me. Had no idea what that was about. Number 5 was SZA. Minutes listened was 45,730. So I doubled that this year. I listened to Taylor Swift 3,067 minutes last year. That's actually crazy. And this year I listened to her 9,741 minutes. Last year I was in her top 2%. This year I'm in her 0.5. We leveled up. Anyways, that's my Spotify wrap. A lot of people are like hating on it because it took forever. I really don't care. It's just fun that they do that. I'm gonna start jumping into the main part of this, which is books, and talk about my 5-star reads of this year. I think I had such an amazing year when it comes to the books that I read. I read a lot more than I think I have in the past 2 years when I've come back to this reading journey of mine. And I did branch out in different genres. I'm gonna jump in to these books because there are a lot. I'm going to break it up into genres, and so the first genre that I'm going to talk about is fantasy. So the first fantasy book I'm going to talk about is actually the first book that I read this year and the first book that I gave 5 stars this year, so we really started off going strong this year in January, and that is Powerless by Lauren Roberts. I know this is kind of a controversial book because a lot of people who are like die-hard fantasy lovers, there's geese that are flying by. I know a lot of people that are like die-hard fantasy lovers did not like this book because it takes a lot of inspiration from other fantasy books, like well-known fantasy books. I didn't know that. This was my like basically first fantasy book that I had read, and so I really enjoyed it. And if you're starting off on your fantasy journey and you don't really know where to start, this is really easy to understand. The plot is basically all romance with a little bit of magic and a little bit of world building. This book focuses on Peyton, and she does not have powers. Now this kingdom, if you don't have powers, you are executed. She has to hide that she doesn't have powers. Well, she's strolling around in the slums one day and she saves this guy from being attacked happens to be the king's son, and so she is then thrown into these Hunger Game trials with other kids, and they all have powers and they have to like win these trials, and they're all going up against each other. So Kai and Peyton kind of make an unlikely alliance. There's a lot of banter, there's a lot of flirting. The man is very child, I guess he's a teenager. I always call him a man, and I really forget that he's probably like 17 or 18, which is crazy because like he's such a sworn-worthy person, but like he's also a child. So the things that he says is very like romantic, very witty, and I love this book. It's very easy to get. I haven't read Powerful and I haven't read Reckless. Powerful, people said it will traumatize me. It'll make me cry and make me feel things that I will never be able to forget. I don't know if I'm mentally prepared for that yet. If I need a good cry, then I'll probably read that book. And then Reckless, I didn't hear that many good reviews for, so I think I might save Reckless for when the third and final book gets released. But I did love Powerless, and if you again want to start a fantasy journey, I think that's a great place to start. Still going along with fantasy, but we're gonna go a little dark, a little gothic fantasy. We're gonna do One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns by Rachel Gillig. I want to go back to the first time I read these so I can feel what I felt again for the first time. This is such an amazing duology, and I really recommend everyone, whether you're starting fantasy or whether you're really into fantasy, to read these. The kingdom, the world building, it's very easy to understand. The magic system is not too complex, but I think I love the creative aspect of it because, I mean, like I said, I'm not much of a fantasy reader, so I had never read something like this. It's like tarot cards, and these cards give you like magical powers, but there's like good magic and then there's bad magic, and so this bad magic has cursed this kingdom, and so these groups of like teenagers are trying to come together and, one, take over the tyrant king of this kingdom, and two, eradicate the cursed magic that's in this kingdom. It's such a good storyline. The journeys that these characters go on, there's different point of views. There's a little bit of romance in both of these books with two different couples, but I wouldn't say it's like heavily driven like Powerless is. It's the best duology that I've read. Okay, so the next genre that I want to talk about is contemporary romance. And the first one that we're going to start off will, I think I might go in order of when I read them, also like I did before with fantasy. So the first contemporary romance that I will recommend, that I gave 5 stars to, is the Chestnut Spring series. There are 2 books in that series that I gave 5 stars. The first one being Heartless, which is the second book in this series. It's a cowboy romance series. It takes place in Canada. It follows these brothers in this family, and then the 4th book is the bull rider's like prodigy, and then the 3rd book in the series is like the best friend to the brothers of this series. So they all get their own book and their own romance storyline, but this one follows the eldest, which is Cade. He is a single dad. He is running the ranch, and so he's in search of a nanny. All of the women in his town basically love him and have a crush on him. FMC in the first book, her best friend comes into town, and the FNC in the first book is like, let me recommend my best friend, Willa, and she is a fiery redhead, says what she wants to say, to the point, free, wild, goes where the wind takes her, is just kind of that. And like the opposite of that is Cade. He's very stoic, very stern, very grumpy. She becomes his nanny for his kid. They go back and forth. There's tension, there's banter. She kind of opens him up out of his shell and kind of brings him back to life, and also is a great role model for his son. And so it's just a cute story. I love Daddy Cade. He's my favorite. He's my favorite in this storyline. But my second favorite in this book is Reckless, and this follows Theo, who is the prodigy of the bull rider in the first book. He is young, he's reckless, and he is in love with the sister of the first book's FMC. The first night that they meet, they have a one-night stand, like no strings attached kind of thing. Well, she ends up getting pregnant. He has feelings for her. She feels like she doesn't deserve to be loved, and so they go back and forth, and he helps her find her inner child again. Another Daddy Theo, and I really recommend the series. Okay, so then the next book that I'm going to recommend is Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. When it first came out, I was kind of hesitant because I wasn't the biggest fan of Yours Truly. I know a lot of people like it. It was not my cup of tea until like the half point, and then I really liked the last half. So I was kind of hesitant buying this book, but I heard so many people loving it, so I gave it a try. I love this book. It is heart-wrenching because of how real this relationship is. Like when you read romance books, like contemporary romance, there's not a lot of relatability in some of the storylines that I read. When I read this, I immediately felt so many emotions, and not just romantically, but also it deals a lot with familial trauma and breaking the chain of trauma within generations, and it's so good. The impact that this book has on me, I don't think I'll ever stop recommending it. This follows Emma and Justin. He posts on Reddit that he is cursed when it comes to relationships. He'll date a girl for a little bit, they break up, she goes on and meets the love of her life. Every relationship that he has. And so Emma finds this and was like, oh my god, same. I date a guy, we break up, he goes on to marry someone else. You know, like I'm never the one that they marry, I'm always the one before the one. So they make a pact saying, let's date for the summer, let's do everything that we do in a normal relationship, break up, and then we can go on and meet the loves of our lives. They do this and they go on little dates, but little by little feelings are there. You have anxious attachment issues, again, family trauma, large responsibilities, and so it's life. This book is life. And I felt so called out in some of these scenes that I needed to put it down. I'm like, that's right on the nose for me, and I don't like that. But I did love this book, and I do heavily recommend. It's so good. It's so good. All right, and then the last book in the contemporary romance genre that I want to talk about is Funny Story by Emily Henry. Now, a lot of people did not really enjoy the storyline in this. I actually found it very entertaining, obviously, because I gave it 5 stars. I feel like I'm pretty critical when it comes to giving out 5 stars to books. This follows Daphne and Miles. Daphne is with this man. They are getting married, and like the night before or a few days before their wedding, the fiance comes back to their house and tells Daphne that he wants to call off the wedding and he's going to date his girl best friend that he's been friends with forever and just realized that he has feelings for her. She ends up moving in with Miles, who is the now ex-boyfriend to the girl that he used to date, who is now dating Daphne's ex-fiance. It's a whole thing. So Daphne moves into Miles' apartment and she's just living there for a little bit until she decides to leave this town. He finds out that she wants to move and was like, well, why do you want to do that? Because it's such a great town. Let me show you. So he takes on her these little dates, just showing her around the town, trying to get her to stay. He is an acts of service man, and I really appreciate it because he pays attention to the little things. Like, she doesn't have to say anything, he just knows and he just does it. I love that in a man. Like, acts of service is my love language. I don't care what you say, words are just words, and I appreciate him. His only flaw is he has like 20 pairs of Crocs, so we're gonna have to work on that. But love this book, I do recommend. And then the last genre that I want to talk about for this video is dark romance. I started reading dark romance last year. My first dark romance that I read was Haunting Adeline. I quickly found out why you're not supposed to start with Haunting Adeline because it's crazy. I think because of Haunting Adeline, and mama don't judge me, I like stalker romances. Fictional, okay? Because of how devoted the man is to the woman. He doesn't care what the girl does as long as it's not with another man or around another man at all. He is so protective, he watches out for her, he pays attention to the little things. Again, it's the small things in life that a man does. And it just so happens that it's, you know, a stalker. And then I did my reading month of February and I'm like, this is a piece of cake after reading Haunting Adeline, you know? There wasn't many dark romance books that I enjoyed reading in that month, but 2 did stand out, and so I'm going to talk about those 2. I now have been reading a lot of dark romance in my free time. You know what? I didn't think I would be a dark romance girly, but it's also not shocking because, like I said, a man that pays attention to the little things, would do anything for you, would burn the world for you, would crawl to you if his legs were broken, loyal, never cheating. Why would I not want a man like that, you know? But the first book that I want to talk about is The Predator by Runix. I read this book so fast in February. It was the first 5-star books that I had given any dark romance. It is so phenomenal. The dark romances that I read, they didn't really have an intriguing storyline to me. This storyline is amazing. It was my first mafia romance. This follows Marana and Tristan Kane. They are on opposite sides, opposing sides, rival families of like mafia gangs. Marana's super smart. She creates this code and it gets into the wrong hands. And so Tristan Kane and Marana have to work together in order to save both of their families. Tristan Tristan Kane hates her and you don't know why. So Mirana's like, well, what's wrong with this guy? So she hates him. They like threaten to kill each other the whole entire book. Then they'll kiss, and then as they're kissing, they're still threatening one another. It's just like the tension between these two characters. I felt like I need to give them some space, you know, like I felt like I was intruding on something when I was reading some of these scenes. I'm just like, I feel like I should not be here. Heavily recommend. I love Tristan Kane. Love this man. And I completely forgot he was blonde, which shocks me. None of my book boyfriends are blonde except for Tristan Kane, Lo from Bride, and I think that's it. The next one that I want to talk about is probably my favorite series of all time. That is the Mind F series by St. Abbey. I think about this book once a week. The storyline, like I said with The Predator, after that first book I was hooked. This is a work of art. This is a masterpiece. This follows Lana. You find out bad things happened to her in her past. Now she's grown up. She's changed her face, her name, her whole identity to go back and get revenge on the people that ruined her life. Then you have Logan. He is like the head honcho of the profiler unit for the FBI. Think of like Criminal Minds. Think of Aaron Hotchner, but she's like younger. They are trying to hunt down the serial killer. Well, he ends up dating Lana, and he doesn't know that that's a serial killer that he's trying to catch. And you get different POVs from Lana with Logan. You get his adventure trying to hunt down different serial killers. You get her point of view on trying to hide it from him. Like I said, this is a dark romance, so you need to check your trigger warnings. There is like sexual assault, abuse in here, but the majority of the storyline is so powerful. Like, this girl is so incredibly smart. When she was doing things, I'm like, oh my god, that is so smart to do. Like, I wouldn't even, I mean, not that I would, you know what, I'm not gonna finish that sentence. It's one book, but it's a series, and there's 5 books, and so I really enjoyed this. I feel like more books should do this because I think each book is like 200 or 300 pages, so it's very small. But also, the author of this book has passed away, and so I heard on TikTok that she has other books under different pen names, so I was gonna try and look it up and read more of her books. But this is such an amazing book or series, and I really recommend this if you can handle this type of stuff. The last book that I want to talk about is a book that I would have never ever think I would give 5 stars, let alone the author 5 stars, and that is Kill Switch by Penelope Douglas. I am currently reading the Devil's Night series on my Kindle, and I quickly have learned that I also want to have the physical books because it definitely will be a reread series for me. I never understood the hype for this series, and although I think it might be a little overhyped, I do thoroughly enjoy the series. Each book has its own strong suit, and the 3rd book, which is Damon's, Damon is psycho. He is crazy. I never understood, like, reading book 1 and 2, I'm like, why are there Damon girlies out here? They like die hard. They're like, wait for his book. You'll be changed. He'll be your favorite. I'm like, what? Do you remember what he did in the 1st and 2nd book? I was like, you know, there's morally gray, you know? And then there's morally black, and that is Damon Torrance, and so he's very scary to me. Book 3 is his book, and you really dive into his mind, his point of view, the things that happened to him as a child. I was crying. I had to take a break and tell myself it's just words on a page. It's not real. It's a fictional story. All the human emotions that one can feel, I felt in this book. It was crazy. So I'm very looking forward to reading the last book in the series. I had to give 5 stars to Damon because of everything that it made me feel. But those are all the books that I read this year that I think are 5-star books. I rated them 5 stars. You don't have to rate them 5 stars. I just had an emotional attachment to these books, and I wanted to tell you, if you haven't read any of these books, I highly recommend them. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe for more videos to come. Like I said in my last video, I'm doing shorter content on my TikTok, so if you want to only do Bookmas and don't care about like other Christmas festivities, you can go on my TikTok and see the shorter content there. I will have my other social medias linked in the description below, and I hope to be seeing you tomorrow for the next video. Bye!